Tonight, our government has really gone stupid this time. Will it ever stop?
The Department of Homeland Security manager is now accused of running a website that promotes a race war against white people.
Kamathy is running a black supremacist website.
I'm fearless. Every now and then you might find a video of me through my media pipeline. It's wartime.
He calls whites the, quote, bitter enemy, and says the website was created with, quote, the purpose of preparing black people worldwide for an unavoidable, inevitable clash with the white race.
I believe that opportunity looks a lot like hard work. I've never had a job in my life that I was better than. I was always just lucky to have a job. The sexiest thing in the entire world is being really smart. Build a life, don't live one, build one. Find your opportunities and always be sexy.
What he said is right on. What he said is exactly what young people in this country need to hear.
The one that is talking said we wanted to kill somebody.
Cops say the baseball player was just jogging along this road here when those three teenagers rolled up behind him in a car and shot him in the back.
He was standing in the roadway and he fell over, and as I come by, he just fell over in the ditch. So he's been shot. He's turning blue.
The one that is talking said we were bored, we wanted something to do, we wanted to kill somebody.
If my clients heard that there was a store that was part of, quote, a gun-free zone, it would be open season on that store.
Businesses here have a right to say we don't want patrons coming into our business with a gun.
First tonight, a Department of Homeland Security worker is running an inflammatory website promoting a race war, stating we are going to have to kill a lot of whites. And we've been paying a salary. But it gets worse. The federal government giving the DHS worker permission to create a site that has been exposed by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They say his fellow employees are afraid of him. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin slamming the worker and the feds on Facebook, posting, his fellow employees say they are astounded he is employed by the taxpayers. His side job, running the War on the Horizon website, is reportedly approved by supervisors. Really, Fed? Really? Governor Palin joins us. Good evening, Governor.
Oh, thank you for covering this one, Greta. This one is unflippin' believable. This one is stupidity on steroids, Obama administration.
You know, I don't even get how this one can happen. I mean, it's like, you know, we give the government hell for a lot of things, and you know, you might disagree with things politically from time to time with administrations, but the whole idea that this guy is, and that they know about him. They know about this guy and his job while he is promoting some sort of race war, making gay slurs.
We'll find out more as to whether he received approval for this or not, because evidently, thus far, it looks like he did receive approval to have this side job of running the website. But it's pretty ironic there that we hear that other officials are saying, oh, appropriate action will be taken if we form a committee and decide whether this guy has violated any kind of HR rules or not. Well, it seems to be appropriate disciplinary action with these very gnarly HR issues that we're seeing by some in the Obama administration result in what? Sharing tea and crumpets with the offending official. Look at the scandals in the IRS, DOJ, now DHS, and NSA. These are HR issues. It starts at the top when the big brother bosses decide what rules, what laws they choose to follow that day.
Well, I know that it's sometimes difficult to get rid of employees for the state government or the federal government, so maybe they're running into that. But if I ran that office, or if I ran DHS and someone came to me and said, you know, we have someone that everybody's afraid of, the first thing I'd say is, why are you afraid of him? And then I'd get the website. I'd look at the website and I'd say, well, what's his job? My next question is, get him out of here. And they say, well, we can't fire him. I said, get him out of here. We'll pay him while he's at home while we do some procedure to try to get rid of him. I mean, it's like one of the remarks that was made to the Southern Poverty, I don't mean to insult postal workers, but the Southern Poverty Law Center said that they are afraid he's going to, quote, go postal in their office, and not to pick on postal workers. But, you know, so there's a genuine fear in the environment, yet the government just sort of looks the other way.
Well, what are they afraid of? Getting sued? So what? I've fired people in my jobs as a city manager and as a governor, and yep, I've been sued for firing those who have been engaged in nefarious acts. And so what? So you get sued. You have to go through that process. Unfortunately, you know, this is a society that loves these lawsuits, and so often it's the innocent who have to end up paying. In this case, it's going to be the taxpayer having to pay for court costs and everything else if the guy does decide to sue. But so what? Get him out of there. Maybe he's in a union, is protected by some union thug leadership, thinking that this guy is a public servant. Well, he's not a public servant. He wants to kill his fellow Americans. We need to get rid of him. And by the way, it's very important that the leaders in these agencies and in this administration truly have servants' hearts. It's got to be more than just security for a job security for an individual like this official. That isn't what we should be concerned about. It needs to be servants' hearts serving we the people.
And you know, the other thing too is hate does go both ways. I mean, he makes gay slurs, but he also makes, he makes hateful things against white Americans. And so the irony, when I looked at this story, the irony for me is I thought it was so horrible when lawyers at the SEC were downloading porn on a taxpayer dime. I thought it was bad we're paying for that. I never thought I could think something was worse. Now we're paying for someone who has a website that's promoting nothing but discord at best, and at worst violence against gays and whites. I mean, it's just bizarre.
It's bizarre. As I say, it's stupidity on steroids, this one.
I'm curious if you know, if I guess the idea would be to move him out of there temporarily. Do you think, is there any possibility that the government's just so big that that it just never sort of made its way up to the head of the DHS or even further?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's a fundamental problem in our government. It is so grandiose, it's so large that things are out of control. This is an example of that, where this agency even is so big that a supervisor, a boss, can't keep hold of one of its employees, didn't do the right background information or continued information gathering. They gather information on all of us, innocent Americans. Why not one of their employees who's in charge of security, buying the guns and ammo? They couldn't do any surveillance, if you will, on this guy to find out what the heck his vocation, his avocation happened to be. Trying to kill whites?
I don't know. Anyway, Governor, I'm going to ask you about one other thing, about Ashton Kutcher, the actor and President Obama's supporter, surprising many conservatives with his pro-work speech to teens. Here it is.
My name is actually not even Ashton. Ashton is my middle name. My first name's Chris. And it always has been. And it got changed when I was like 19 and I became an actor. But there were some really amazing things that I learned when I was Chris. And I wanted to share those things with you guys because I think it's helped me be here today. So it's really three things. The first thing is about opportunity. The second thing is about being sexy. And the third thing is about living life. So first, opportunity. I believe that opportunity looks a lot like hard work. When I was 13, I had my first job with my dad carrying shingles up to the roof. And then I got a job washing dishes at a restaurant. And then I got a job in a grocery store deli. And then I got a job in a factory sweeping Cheerio dust off the ground. And I've never had a job in my life that I was better than. I was always just lucky to have a job. And every job I had was a stepping stone to my next job. And I never quit my job until I had my next job. And so opportunities look a lot like work.
Governor, your thoughts about Ashton Kutcher's little speech?
That was beautiful. That was inspiring. I think Ashton is going to help make the idea of wanting to work cool again. I appreciated that he was so bold and speaking truth to power there to the youth of America. More Americans in this younger generation, they need to hear this, that man was created to work. That's where we get our sense of self and this productivity that's so needed, not just economically, but emotionally, spiritually, psychologically in our country. Lifting up the worker. His speech was all about that blue collar, Carhartts and steel-toed boots that so many of us respect. I respected his speech. I hope we hear more of it coming out of Hollywood.
You know, I would hope that people would, young people especially, think, sort of emulate it and think that, well, you know, one good way to success is sort of to work hard, even at a young age. I mean, I think that he was carrying around shingles or something for his father on a work site at age 13. Then he went to washing dishes, and as you say, making work cool. You know, it really does. It would be, you know, I don't know how many families still have chores for their children. With the sort of the disintegration of the American family, you know, I probably have less of that. But it certainly would be a rather helpful thing to our culture if we all developed a, you know, more of a commitment to a work ethic. Of course, I will be a little sarcastic and say Congress is on vacation for a week, and Samantha Power, the ambassador, couldn't make it back for an emergency meeting. So we got a lot of work to do to set examples.
Got a lot of work to do, but you know, this is a step greatly appreciated coming out of Hollywood. I think a lot of that is those heartland roots that are in Ashton Kutcher. You know, he grew up in the heartland, and like they say, you know, you can take Iowa out of the boy. You can take the boy out of Iowa, but you can't take Iowa out of the boy. Maybe that's some manifestation of that. I love it.
All right, a quick question about you. I read newspapers a lot, and I see sort of the chatter about whether or not you might run for senator from Alaska. So let me ask, what's the latest on that?
Well, our present senator, Mark Begich, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch is kind of how we refer to him up here, because he's being led by this bunch of Harry Reid and President Obama. Mark Begich having been so supportive of their agenda, ushering in Obamacare and incurring more and more debt. He certainly needs to be replaced, and we need someone there who understands that you know, our country's going bankrupt, and we need to rein in government, some simple we the people type principles that need to be enacted. And that's not going to come from Mark Begich. He needs to be replaced, but Greta, it doesn't have to be me. There are thousands of good Alaskans with that servant's heart and the ability and the desire to serve we the people. Doesn't have to be me. I do think it's kind of hilarious, though, that Mark Begich seems to want to use my name as his fundraising tool so often with his far left friends, because every time I speak about this issue, he'll fire off emails and fundraising pleas saying, Sarah Palin's talking about taking my job. It's kind of in a panic there, being threatened, I guess, but doesn't have to be me. And as of this day, I am not planning to run for the U.S. Senate, but I certainly would never say never in this case.
So does that mean, if I could sort of sum this up, that the door is open but no decisions have been made? It's not closed on the thought. Is that what you're thinking about?
The door is never going to be closed in terms of opportunity that could be out there to serve people who are deserving of those with common sense conservative values. But Mark Begich and, heck, all those far left senators, you know, they do need to be replaced. President Obama does not need more numbers on his side of the aisle when it comes to incurring more debt and burdening Americans with more and more big brother government.
Governor, thanks. Always nice to see you. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you so much.